Hello everyone. Welcome to this video on the topic of modified duration versus Macaulay duration versus average life. So this duration concept is a very dreaded concept for various people who work in the field of bonds, fixed income security. So we are going to find out this duration. So we are going to start with average life, then we will derive Macaulay duration, and then we will derive modified duration, and you will realize how easy these concepts are. Now we will begin our video. Now before beginning the video, I will request you to please subscribe my channel, that is Finance Skulls. Now we will start on the topic of modified duration, Macaulay duration, average life from very basic, from a very beginning. Okay. So suppose, see, this topic concerns what? Fixed income security, fixed income securities, or I can use a general word known as the bond. Okay. Now, suppose I am talking about a bond whose face value or par value. So there is FP, we can use the face value word, or par value is suppose 100. The coupon of this bond is suppose 10%, and the term or the maturity of this bond is suppose 3 years. So first we are going to model the cash flow for this bond, and then we will progress to find out the various terms or calculations like the average life, Macaulay duration, and the modified duration. Okay. Now, so I will start to model the cash flow. So we are talking about the year. Suppose this is the zero time. This is at the end of 1 year. This is at the end of 2 year, and this is at the end of 3 year. What does it mean? So if I am talking about a bond whose maturity is 3 years, whose coupon is 10%, and its face value is 100, it means that it will repay back. If you are an investor, then it will repay back the 100 face value at the end of the third year. And what are the coupon cash flows? The coupon cash flow are 10% of 100. So it is 10. It is how much? It is 10. The coupon cash flow are 10. And what are the total cash flows? Total cash flow is the sum of the coupon cash flow and the face value. Okay. Okay. So we have talked about a bond whose maturity is 3 years. The face value or the par value. Okay. PV means here par value. The face value or the par value is 100, means at the end of the 3 year, this coupon is going to pay us back 100 principal, or the face value or the par value, plus at the end of each year, at the end of 1 year, at the end of 2 year, at the end of 3 year, it will pay us coupon, that is 10%, and 10% of the par value. That will be the actual cash flow. So the total cash flow will be 10 at the end of 1 year, 10 at the end of 2 year, and 110 at the end of 3 years. Okay. So the first thing now that we are going to calculate is the average life. Average life of the cash flow. So what do we mean by average life? Average life of the cash flow. So we know that the maturity of bond is 3 years. So average life also is an indicator of time, but we are going to weigh that time using the cash flows. Okay, so I will write certain terms for you. Suppose we are talking about the weight 1, weight 2, sorry, just a minute. Weight 1, weight 2, and weight 3. Okay, weight 3. Now there is another term that I will write here, that is what are the total cash flows. Total cash flow is how much? Total cash flow is the sum of all the cash flow that you are getting. So total cash flow is how much? 130. Okay, so we are going to calculate the average life of cash flow. We are going to first derive the weight, the weight of the cash flow, that we are going to multiply then with the time. Okay, so what is the weight of the first cash flow? So it is 10 divided by 130, that is the total cash flow. So I will fix this cell. Okay, suppose we take till the 4 digit, and then I will drag it to find out the weight of all the three cash flows. Okay, so now I find out the weight of individual cash flow with respect to the total cash flow. Okay, and now I will find out the average life. So for calculation of average life, what I will do is that I will multiply these weights with the time, with the time. Okay, so what is the average life? It will be the sum of these weighted time. So how much it is? 2.7692. Okay, so this is what we have derived now, is the average life. And average life of this bond that is maturing in 3 years is 2.7692. Okay, now we will go to the next concept, that is of the Macaulay duration. So see, in Macaulay duration, again, we will use the weight of the cash flow, but we will use the present value of the weight of the cash flow. Okay, so there is one thing that you are going to need, and that is yield. Yield of the bond. What is the yield of the bond? And suppose if you come to know that the yield of bond is 9%, yield is different from coupon. So yield is the interest rate at which these cash flows are priced. Okay, so yield is suppose 9%. What does it mean? Okay, so what does it mean? It means that this particular bond that is yielding 10 in the first year, 10 in the second year, and 110 in the third year, it is priced at 9%. So what does it mean? We are going to discount, these cash flows by 9%. So how we are going to discount it? So we will take this cash flow and we are going to discount it using what? 1 plus 9%. But we are also going to discount it back by 1 year. So we have to, from 1 year, we have to bring it back to the 0. Okay, so this is the that thing. And again, this yield, we are going to use it across the cell, so we are going to fix it. Okay, now I will drag it down here. Now, so what we have got now here is the present value of the individual cash flows. The present value of the individual cash flow. So what I have got here is that what is the present value of this particular bond? the present value of this particular bond is the sum of, so instead of using present value, I will say the price of this bond is 102.53. Okay, the price of this bond is 102.53. So how did I found it? How did I found it? Because I discounted these cash flow by using this particular yield to get the price of this particular bond. So what is yield? Actually, in market, what happen is that you observe the price. Okay, and you know what are the calculation, you know the what are the cash flows, and you go back and find out what is the yield. But to explain you the concept, I started with the yield and derived the price. Okay, now why I derived the price? Because now I want to find out what is the Macaulay duration. So like average life is an indicator of time, even Macaulay duration is the indicator of time. Thus one thing that we have taken into account is what? The present value concept. So it is also a function of time, but we have taken the present value of cash flows. Okay, now so now again what we are going to do is we are going to find the weights. We are going to find the weights. The weights will be the present value of the cash flows. Weight 2, weight 3. Okay, so we will, so what will be the weight? Weight will be the present value of these cash flow divided by the total value of the bond. Okay, again I will drag it. Now what I will do, just a minute, we'll convert them into weights like numbers, so like 2-digit. Okay, now this also I will convert into number. Okay, now this is the weights in see also remember the sum of weights will should always be 1. So even in the case of average life, the sum of weight was 1, and here also it's 1. So we have identified what is the weight. Okay, okay, now what is the Macaulay duration? To calculate the Macaulay duration, we will take these weights and we are going to multiply with the present values. We did this. Okay, what happened? Okay, sorry. We are going to multiply the weights with the time. Huh? Remember what we did earlier with the time. We will drag it. Okay. Now what is the Macaulay duration? Macaulay duration is the sum of these three numbers, which is what? The weighted average time weighted by the present value of cash flows. So this is the Macaulay duration of 2.74. So both average life and Macaulay duration are what? The function of time. Both are the function of time. The only thing is that in Macaulay duration, we take present value of cash flow. In average life, we take the normal cash flows, complete cash flows without any discounting of the cash flows. Okay. Now further I will, okay. Now to arrive at modified duration, it is very simple. What is the modified duration? I will write it as mod duration. So mod duration is how much? It is the Macaulay's duration divided by 1 plus the YTM, whatever is the yield. So you just have to divide the Macaulay duration by 1 plus the YTM. So you get the modified duration. The only thing you need to remember is that had this been a semi-annual, so this bond that we talked, that is paying 10%, so this is an annual bond, so it pays once in the year. So had this bond would have been a semi-annual bond, in that case we would have had to divide this YTM by 2. So the duration would have been 262, but I will revert back to the present thing, that is 2.51. Okay. Okay. Now, so this is what I derived the Macaulay duration. Sorry, I derived the modified duration by first calculating the average life, then calculating the Macaulay duration, and then coming to the modified duration. So first I calculated average life, then Macaulay duration, and then the modified duration. See, you can calculate these durations not only for these fixed income instrument or bond, but you can also calculate for loans also. Okay, because you can always find out what are the cash flow of the loan. You can always present value them. You can always find out what is the modified duration of even the loans. Okay. Now, this is one way that I derived the modified duration. Second way is what? Second way is what? Suppose this zero time is suppose 1st January 2020. This is 2020 1st January. Okay. So 1 year will be what? This plus 365 days. Okay. I will. Okay. Okay. So just see, the format here is just what? It is MMDD. So this is just, so you should not get confused. It is MMDD. 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 First the month is there, then the date is there. MMDD. Okay. So now here also, see, you can also calculate, there is also formula in Excel. So in Excel, you can calculate, you can use the formula of M duration. There is this M duration, and you take what? Various parameter to directly. So instead of deriving this entire modified duration, see, whenever I use the word duration, you have to assume it is modified duration, because that is what is the word that we regularly use. So it so whenever are using the word duration, it generally means modified duration. So if you're talking about Macaulay duration, you have to say it's Macaulay duration. If you're talking about average life, you have to say that it's an average life. So M duration you can also calculate directly in Excel. So you can write M duration. Settlement is what? Today's date. Take the first date, the start date. That is the today's date. That is 1st January. So we are our bond. So 0 is today, and this bond is going to pay us coupon for the next 3 years. So this is the settlement date, comma, what is the maturity? Maturity is 31st December 2022. What is the coupon? Coupon is 10%. What is the yield? Yield is 9%. And what is the frequency of the coupon? So it is just paying what? Annual. So once in a year, one. And I will close it down. So this is what is the my modified duration. So what is the modified duration given by the so I will write it down here. So this is the mod duration that you calculated using the Excel formula. Using the Excel formula. So it will never match exactly, because there is a concept of convexity. That we can discuss in some other topic, but there is a concept of convexity because of so the value that you derived here. So this is the mod duration that we derived. The value that you derived and the modified duration calculated by Excel, it will be close, but it will not be the same. Okay. Now there is another way you can derive the modified duration. There is another way you can derive the modified duration. So I will tell you how you can derive. So first what you have to do is that give a plus 1% shock to yield and find out the price. So give 1% shock to yield and find out the price. So plus 1%. So whenever you increase the yield, the price of the bond will decrease, and give a minus 1% shock to yield and then find out the price, because that is how we can also find out the modified duration, because the concept of modified duration means that for 1% shock in interest rate, the value of the bond will change by 2.5103%. That is the concept of modified duration. So MAC duration and average life are function of the time, but modified duration, apart from being a function of time, it is also an indicator of interest rate sensitivity. So 2.5103 means when there is a shock of 1% in the yield in the interest rates, then the value of bond is going to change by 2.5103%. So that is what we want to derive. We can derive that also. Okay. Okay. Now, what is the price of the bond? What is the price of the bond? I will cut paste here. Just a minute. Copy. I will do a paste special. Now, suppose if the interest rate increases by 1%. Now you change the yield to 10, automatically you will, since I have already plugged in the formula, you will get the value. So it will become how much? 100. The price will become how much? If you increase it by 1%, will become 100. Okay. Okay. Now what will happen if so interest rate earlier was how much? 9% it was. So I will reduce. So now I gave 1% shock above. Now I will also shock it down. So I will bring the interest rate to 8%. So what will become? What will the price of bond will become? It will become 105.1542. Okay. I will change it back to 9%. That was our base situation. So what does it indicate? That when there was a 1% shock, when by 1% the yield increase, the value of bond declined from 102.53 to 100. So what has been the change in price? The change in price is this minus this 102.53 minus 100. From where? From 102.53. So what is the percentage change? This is the percentage change. Okay. Now, this was a 1% increase in yield earlier. Now minus 1% means there is a decline in yield. So what will be the percentage change? So now the price is this after shock. Earlier it was this. We started with this 102.53. So these are the two change in the value of the bond given the shock up or down, and you can see that the change in value is different. So to find out duration, you have to take average of it. So modified duration calculated using shocks is what? It's the average of these two. Okay. Again, so I have so So how much it is? Again, we are arriving at the same value. Okay, 2.51 percentage is the average change in the price, and that is therefore this into 100, because we assume that this is a percentage. So I will convert it into a number. 2.51 is my 2.5135 is my modified duration that I calculated using the shock. So you can see that these three figures are close by. So I calculated it using three different methods. I have calculated the modified duration. So I hope that this lecture clarified the concept or the way we calculate the modified duration in various ways. And this will help you, this topic being less dreaded from tomorrow once you see this video today. So kindly subscribe to my channel. I will keep on bringing amazing videos for you. Thanks a lot.